Hey everybody, how you guys doing? It's me once again, it's Charles, and welcome to the Charles Matthews Morning Show. Just want to say good morning. Hope you're having a great day. I was looking at my wallet and I was looking at my credit cards. I was looking at my bank statements. With the COVID-19 and everything's happening, we're paying a lot of bills. We're doing a lot of debt. But the question is how to be debt free. When anything's over, we don't want to have a lot of bills. I've been talking to somebody that, talking about how to be debt free, how to do what you got to do. So if you want to know how to be debt free, if you want to know how to be financial free, or just want to be free, stay tuned. Let's go. Yes, welcome back. And I got a tag team coming right at you. Please welcome some good friends of mine. Please welcome them to the show.
Hi.
Hey, Charles.
Yes. How you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic.
Amazing, actually.
Good.
We're nervous and excited.
Hey, listen, this is what it's all about, because you're nervous because you have great information you want to get out to the public. And when the people have great information, because it worked. Your story is something different. It actually worked. It works. So you're excited to tell everybody a little bit about it. But before we go on, please introduce yourselves. Where are you guys from? Give me some background on you guys.
Absolutely. My name is Michelle Davis. I'm originally born and raised in Toronto. I'm actually living in Edmonton, Alberta now. And my amazing husband, Orvin.
Yeah, I'm Orvin, from Jamaica originally, and live overseas, travel a little bit overseas, and now I'm here in Edmonton, Alberta, with this beautiful bombshell.
All right. So two things that I need. Make sure I get my coconut water, because you're from Jamaica, so you need to be sending me some things, whatever. I'm here in Toronto.
Some jelly.
Something. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy.
Awesome.
So listen, let's go back. When we first start talking, I know Michelle from here, Toronto. We used to do event planning. Everything was good. We're doing our thing. And then you got married, but then you were telling me a story about, the money, the debt, the this. Can you give us a little background on that as well?
Wow.
Absolutely. My amazing husband here, like you said, he's from Jamaica. And in Jamaica, you don't really live a life on credit, but that's a very normalized thing here in Canada. So when we got married, this poor man inherited what little debt I had at the time, which is probably under $60,000 at the time.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, because when you're from Ontario, that OSAP life is real, right?
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of debt, and then life circumstances happened to me at a very young age, and I didn't anticipate it. So my mother passed away, and my brother had passed away, and then all these bills started to come in, and then the house and the funerals, and all of a sudden I found myself in almost $500,000 of debt, including a mortgage that I couldn't take care of because my life situations had changed so drastically. And he came to our lovely marriage with zero debt. So I just decided that, this is not healthy. This is not normal. But at the same time, I got myself there really because there was no one around me to really educate me or really to help me to understand how to manage finance as well.
Right. Yep.
And so when we got married and things just started to go downhill really quickly, I said, we could just let this spiral out of control, or we could be intentional and take control.
Okay.
And then we moved out here to Edmonton. We were very fortunate to meet two amazing individuals who have been coaching us and mentoring us in business life for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
We also have a couple of other businesses as well. And they just taught us such great financial principles that we didn't understand before and that no one had ever exposed us to. And the educational system, as we know, doesn't, even though Ontario is now apparently going to be introducing that. So it's just really important for us to educate ourselves. And the more we educated ourselves, it really helped us to accelerate getting out of that debt. And we learned so much in the journey.
Definitely.
And it was a partnership journey. It was very much. This poor man brought nothing to the table, but he had to help me get out of it. It was a joint effort.
Right. Because once you get married. My debt's your debt's my debt, and it's
Oh,
Exactly.
right.
oh yeah.
And he was so patient with me. He said, just babe, whatever we have to do to get out of this, we're going to do this and we're going to do this together. And we buckled down and we learned a lot in the last 4 years. And we officially got debt free actually just on June 19th. So
Yeah.
Juneteenth,
Juneteenth,
we were officially debt free. And
right?
we
We
just
celebrated it
realized,
that day.
yeah, how important it was to share that forward, especially in our community. In the communities, there's a lack of basic financial understanding and principles that if
Right.
we had a better grasp on at a younger age, we could set ourselves up for success in so many ways that we can't even begin to comprehend.
Yeah, because one of the things that we have learned through mentorship is just that finance is it's principle based,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's a lot to do with a biblical base. And once you understand principles, just like life, once you understand the life and the roadmap and the blueprint, especially if you have someone in your corner like a
right,
mentor and someone who can coach you on what to do, the X's and O's of getting out of it, or how to prepare yourself, then it's just a recipe for winning. So, as a family unit, as a husband and wife, that's all focus on just bringing what we have learned with some of the professional help that we have also brought. We had seek for ourselves because knowledge is power, not just knowledge, but applying it. That's where the power comes in. So we're
right.
super excited about where we are and where we're heading, and
Just want to share it.
we just want to share it. Honestly, that's what we want to do.
So here's the thing, though. When
Mhm.
people say, debt free, financial free, we all have debt. We all accumulate debt. But the thing is, we don't really understand. Like, okay, for example, I need a credit card. Okay, we go into the bank. I need a credit card. They go, sure. They look at you with a
Of
big grin on
course.
their face, and they hand you a credit card. But we don't. Some people don't understand. Okay, the interest on the credit card,
Right.
payments you have to be on the credit card. What's the minimum payment you have to do on the credit card? How do you guys, knowing this knowledge now, can help us so we don't have to fall in that trap?
Okay.
To be honest, I think that the misconception is that you have to have all this wisdom and head knowledge. At the end of the day, healthy finances is 20% head knowledge and 80% habits. It's all about your habits. At the end of the day, um, a lot of the things that we do are because our parents did it or someone around us is do it. Yeah, our parents always
Association.
told us, what did our parents always say when we were younger?
Birds of a feather.
Flock together, right? So
Yeah.
if everyone around you is misusing money and debt, then they say, if you're the fifth person who's broke, I mean, if you have five friends who are broke, you're going to be the sixth one,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so in order to get yourself out of that, you really just have to educate yourself and now apply it. So my husband said it perfectly, is people have all this knowledge available to us. You can find a gazillion financial training courses online. There's
Yes.
a million places you can read the resources you need to know, but how many people are reading it and then doing it? They
It,
have excuses after excuses as to why it's too hard, why I can't do this, why I can't do that.
it's
But
easier.
the outcome, worth it.
It's easier if someone tells you. It's easier if someone says, "Here, let me hold your hand. All right,
Mhm.
and give you a call. Listen, did you put down that $50 on the Visa card? No, I
Right.
forgot.
Right.
I'll do it right now."
Mhm.
Compared to reading a book saying every week put down money, it's not the same. You're not holding accountable. So this is where people like yourselves that have been through it that can help us and say, "Hey, did you do this? Remember, if you put this down, it can help you
Right.
more." But what was the one key thing that you've learned that you went, "Oh my goodness, if I had just done that years ago, it would have been so much easier"? What's that one thing?
I think I call it the big C: consistency and commitment.
Mhm.
Uh,
It's easy to say that we're going to do it, and
mm,
everyone does a budget, to be honest. I shouldn't say everyone, but most people, 70% of people do a budget.
right.
How many of them follow through on that budget beyond the first 3 months or the first 3 weeks, even sometimes, right?
Listen. I will put double next month. I need now. That Go Watch looks pretty cool. I'll double it next month. The
and
next.
and Charles, And Charles, one of the things that people don't understand when we talk about budget, that budget is two principles. Budgeting and sticking to a budget is two separate things, because you can set a budget like, okay,
Yeah.
this is what I'm going to be doing, but a budget is like a pulse. So you do sometimes got to go in and readjust, depends on your situation and your circumstances, and
Okay.
some of the things that really eating at your budget when you don't understand that, okay, you can adjust at that particular time, in depends on where you are, but just sticking to your budget and following through is the big thing.
I think people hear budget as well too, and they think that sounds very strict and restricting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's interesting because if you all of a sudden, like with COVID-19, if you're all of a sudden your family income goes down by 1,000, all you do is adjust your living style and do things accordingly. However, when you have that abundance of money, you're not willing to just adjust. Warren Buffett always talks about paying yourself first. So when your income comes in, if you decide that you're going to allocate 10% of your savings, 20% to your savings, pay yourself first, figure it all out after that. If you don't do that, you will never hit the goals and targets that you say, because that's not the priority. Even as kids, we were told put our big rocks into that jar first. And if your big rocks are paying off your debt or savings, you have to put those into the jar first and figure out everything else around it. It doesn't mean you can't have fun. It just means instead of having fun irresponsibly with the income that you have coming in, and say spending $600 on entertainment and eating out per month, be more intentional and accountable, and now spend $200 per month on eating out and entertainment. And if that means you can't go to 3 events this month, well, then that's just too bad. But you can go to 2 or 3 events that fall within your budget.
Now, is that the pressure? Because okay, so here it is. Like you said, there's something that you really caught my ear on. It's like when we put too much pressure on ourselves to keep putting in, that's where we get all nervous and say, oh, I can't do it because, I got to put another 50 in. I couldn't do it this week. Instead of saying, listen, every time things will pop up. You know what I mean? You need new tires. So you couldn't put in the full 50, but instead of being stressed out about it, put something in, be consistent and put something in. I couldn't put the full 50, but I still have, 30 this week. I can put in the 30, make sure that I'm always putting in something.
You said something really powerful right there. You said, I need new tires this week. And I find it interesting because whether you're buying a used car for $5,000 or you buy a brand new car for $30,000, what you already knew when you bought that car is it was going to need maintenance. But yet for some reason we call it an emergency when it happens because we never planned for it, right?
Yep.
Why are we not planning for that? If we already know that these urgencies or emergencies are going to come up, why is that money not put aside there? Because we've been taught that when those emergencies come up, it's not an emergency. You already knew it was going to happen. That's like saying daycare was an emergency. You knew you were going to go to work. So you knew you had to send your kid to daycare. So you budgeted the fees for the daycare.
Do I really have to take these kids? Nah, okay, I'll take it. Yeah.
and it's
not like about it. You had to do it. Right. Exactly.
Definitely. And that's, as I said, I always say, comes back down to principle and creating system where you create an emergency fund. We have different principles and steps that we apply to getting out of that, becoming debt free and staying there. Because when you start applying principle, using this that snowball method and cash flow envelope, and using all those different principles that we have and tools in our tool belt, then when you start applying those to your work habit around budgeting and your finance, then as I always say, it's a recipe.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to go to your website. And then now we want to know, how can you help us? What do we need to do? Do we call? How can you help us? What do we need to bring to the table so you can help us to be like you, the smiling couple, debt free? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top. And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online, go to cmjent.com. Oh, hey, how you doing? If you got an interesting story or a business that you want to share with someone, or you just want to come on the show and talk about something new, exciting that's happening, you could be my next guest on the Charles Matthews Show. Just go to the link in the description, sign up, and you could be my next guest. Hey, let's get back to the show. Let's go. Yes, you could be my next guest. So if you're interested, just hit the link. So I saw Michelle ready to talk, and that wasn't. Michelle's looking at. Wait, Charles changed his outfit.
Yep.
I thought you were repping for Jamaica because you know
You
who's
know.
here.
There you go. I got you. I got you.
All right, brother. And we're aerodynamic.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it. So just before the break, I wanted to go to your website and we wanted to find out. Okay, here we go. How do you help? What do we need to go? What are the things we need to look for? So let's dive right into that, and then let's find out what we're missing.
We can provide the support and tools because I think the most basic thing is that people think that they need to have all this knowledge out there in order to manage their finances. The reality is we are financial coaches. We are not going to specifically tell you what to do with your mortgage, with your real estate, with your investments, etc. What we're here for is to teach you better behaviors and habits so that you can reach your financial goals. And actually, a big reason why we actually started coaching is because we've been business coaches for about 4 years now. And so we coach individuals on how to leverage e-commerce assets and how to build e-commerce businesses. Interestingly enough, one of the biggest challenges that most individuals had was they couldn't get their budget together. They couldn't stick to they couldn't get their finances in order to build their businesses. So we were like, we need to really help people at more of a minuscule level and help them. So in order to help them, we're really just here to provide the support and the tools and the mentality shifts. Teach them about the mentality techniques and tools that you're going to need in order to make those habitual shifts. Because if you can't make the habitual shifts, your goals, you can hit them, but your big, major long-term goals will constantly be in this up and down curve. So when we provide financial tools, yes, we are doing actual budgeting sessions. We are teaching you about actually a lot of our principles, actually all of our principles come from the Ramsey principles, Dave Ramsey principles. If you know anything about Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
So he teaches a lot of principles of, first of all, being debt free, then building your emergency funds. And so that's what most people don't realize. Right now, when COVID-19 hit, there was a lot of individuals who were freaking out and, we can't, oh no, what are we going to do? For some reason, Orvin and I always knew that in life, things are going to come at you and you should be in a situation where you have some financial security that if you lost your income for 6 months, you'd be okay.
Right.
And so one of the basic principles we teach is just having an emergency fund of $1,000. Then you also need to have an emergency fund, a long-term emergency fund of anywhere between 3 to 6 months. Now that sounds crazy to some people, but that's actually a very basic necessity.
Okay, hold on. Sorry to cut you, but I want to slow that part down because say that. Go back to that part again. How much money do you have? So
if you know your monthly expenses are going, your bare bones, and I heard someone refer to it as the ramen noodles expenses per month.
Yeah.
If your ramen noodles expenses per month, meaning your rent or mortgage, whatever basic insurances that you have, your utilities, groceries, things of that nature, you know every single month what that's going to cost you at your baseline for the rest of your life, essentially.
Right.
Why are you not prepared for 6 months?
So you're telling me if I, on an average, every 2 weeks, I spend, say, $160 for groceries every 2 weeks, right? So that means that times 212 carry the one, that's 320 a month. So 320 times 6.
Actually, no, a lot more than that. So your average monthly expenses typically run anywhere between your basic expenses are between $4,000 to $5,000 per month for the average family. That's just basic bare bones.
Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about like gas, car bill,
right?
Oh Lord. Okay.
Well, consider COVID-19. There's families who have been completely knocked out of employment, and they're not qualifying for the CERB benefits. What are they supposed to do?
Right. I'm getting it now. So you have 6 months of your financial should be saved somewhere put away for certain situations.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, now, what was part 2 that you said?
So once you've gotten your emergency fund, of $1,000 emergency fund really is the step that you have to hit in order to get debt free and to stay debt free. The reason being is because, again, sometimes we call urgencies emergencies, and we start running back into we run back into our credit card debt. That's not essential if you have an emergency fund put aside, because now instead of going back into debt on your credit card, you reach for that emergency fund, say, I have to fix the tires, $300. My, I don't know, something else on my car is acting out, that's going to be $600.
Mhm.
And you can replenish that ongoing fund. Now, when something like COVID-19 hits, or the reality is someone has a car accident and the
Right.
primary income earner in your home now has no income, you have to offset and supplement that. Maybe they don't have benefits from their employer. Maybe they didn't qualify for long-term disability. How
Mhm.
do you manage through a situation like that? We all knew that that was a potential and a possibility. What did you do
Right.
to prepare for it?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And the next step on that, Charles, where uh, we're saying this, but a lot of folks may be wondering, how can I do that on the income that I have? And that's where the mindset and the mindset shift comes in, where
Yeah.
we'll help you to understand. We're coaching you, like, okay, like for us, when we're going debt free, we pick up extra jobs, extra out 2 hours a weekend. Especially me, I'm coming from Jamaica, from the Caribbean. I didn't realize when I came to Canada that most people here, even if they're working in the bank, they were as a waiter, or they were a waitress, or they were a bartender before. Some of those skills that you have learned through college, sometimes you got to bounce back on them, and you say, like, okay, let me get a 2 hour gig as a bartender every Friday night instead of going out and drinking with your friends. No, you work at a bar, so you make extra tip, and that you throw that on your debt. And that's where we help you when you're in the jam. You're like, I can't get out of this. Sell
Yeah.
stuff. In North America, people have things galore for apparently most of them no reason. Sell stuff. Go in your garage. Sell stuff. eBay. Whatever you used to have back in the days. Just apply those principles, because that's the only way. Because we're fighting a war against
Mediocrity.
mediocrity. We are fighting a war against, because family is a thing, finance is a big thing in family, and for Michelle and I, that's a fight that we are taking to the world, because we realize finance is a big part of the family, and when you have finance lacking, then there's so many other things can unfold. So we just
Mhm.
teach you how to apply the principle. We're not financial guru, but with the principles that we have, and the principles that we have learned over a 4 years span, we can definitely put you on the right path.
Yeah. At
All
the end
right.
of the day, the average household debt now represents 177% of Canadians' disposable income. That's insane.
To the
For every
membrane.
dollar that we're spending, I mean, for every dollar that we earn, we're
Yeah.
spending $1.77.
Yes, definitely, definitely, because everything has gone up. And I don't know if you guys are working, but my boss doesn't come knocking on my door and go, "Hey, here's an extra 20 a week." Here's
No.
not happening. So we need to be
Right.
finding some other avenues of money and income coming in. And it's funny enough, I love what you were saying. When you think about it, we have enough stuff in our place.
Come on, yeah.
Enough things are just sitting there that we could
Absolutely.
be putting on eBay. You know what I mean? Like you said,
Facebook Marketplace,
Yes.
whatever.
exactly,
Make it happen.
exactly. And instead
As
of
a coach, we help you shift your mental perspective on your income that you have coming in
yeah,
and your expenses. You always have either an income problem, you have an expense problem, or you have both. And we're going to help you address which is the actual problem you have, because most people will do a budget. And if you actually were asking them to bring in their bank statements for the last 3 months and compare it against their budget, I can guarantee we'll find some loopholes. You said
yeah,
you ate out $200 a month, but realistically, when we looked at your bank statements, it was more like $600 per month.
yeah.
Let's curve that. Let's create better habits.
We ain't eating at McDonald's. We're eating at Steak or we're eating at Red Lobster. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Definitely.
All right. So here's a question for you. So that means, and I want everybody to listen, wives and husbands, that means we got to tone down the gifts. We got to tone down the stuff. We got to tone down all the stuff that we buy and purchase. So on both sides, gentlemen, the gadgets, slow it down.
Right.
Ladies, the purses and the shoes, slow it down. Because at the end of the day, shoes come and go, but financial debt stays a long time. So we
Right.
Definitely.
mindset about it. So I like what you're saying. We can always put in little bit at a time. Great.
Right.
So before we let you go, we're going to put it up one more time. If you're looking for people that can help you out, these two know what they're talking about. They're smiling all the time. They wake up every day and go, wait a minute, I don't have a bill. All right, next. All right.
That's exactly
Sweet.
what it feels like.
Love it. We'll
Yeah.
talk to you because I got bills here. I got bills here, right?
Yeah.
So right there, what's the best way for them to contact you? Through your email address, through the website? How would you like them to contact you?
So they can check us out on Instagram at woke, WOKE underscore family financial coaching, or they can go to our website at www.wokefamilyfinancialcoaching.com.
All right. Listen, thank you so much for giving us some knowledge, because if people are listening right now, I didn't really think about that savings funds. I'll be honest with you, like how much money we should be keeping, because people didn't think there would ever been a COVID, you know what I mean? And something like this ever would have happened. But it's true. More people should be thinking about this thing now, like, okay, this did happen. And if it comes back again, how can we survive? We need to have some financial savings and what we can do. So if you're thinking about it, please do give them a call. Emails right there, websites right there. Check them out. Go online, contact us, and they're willing to help, because I see here you guys are willing to do online, virtual coaching, phone coaching. So you guys are ready to go. So before we'd love to do one thing here on the Charles Matthews Show. It's called the Queen Wave. This is your opportunity to say hi to all families and friends back home. This is what you got to do. The floor is yours.
Hi, guys. Definitely one of the things that we just want everyone to know in time like these, live below your means. Just live in a budget, and that's one of the biggest things to take away. Just set a budget, set a plan, love each other, and just enjoy the moment. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. This is a pleasure and an honor.
Not a problem. We'll talk soon. See you later.
Thanks. Good
Bye.
job. Thank you.
Now listen, did you really think about it? It's not that hard, but I guess we don't really put that in perspective, because if I go to Tim Hortons every day or coffee time and I spend that $3, okay, that's fine. But some people are going to coffee time and Tim Hortons 4 times a day. You think about it, that little bit of money that you think, it's only a coffee, it's only thing. Yeah. Let me put it in perspective. If I save $1 a day for 365 days, what did I get? Yeah, $365. So think about if you save the Tim Hortons money and something else. If you're wondering, okay, how do I do it? I don't know how to do it. Call these two. They will show you how to do it and how to do it financial. So here it is. Check them out, because I want to be debt free. I know you want to be debt free. We can all be debt free, but it all comes from little principles and little things that we have to do. So I just want to thank Mike Guest for coming on and teaching us some knowledge. Like I always say, you didn't have to watch, but you did. See you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that this podcast is meant for educational and informational purposes only and is in no way a replacement for legal or medical advice. The opinions contained within are solely those of the interviewers and interviewees and should be received as so. Those seeking help or advice are encouraged to obtain professional legal and medical services.